Maailman paras kesäolut turmiokatinen diskoapa on nyt kaupoissa. Jos ei ole, niin sano, että soittaa Isokallan panimolle.
Hello, this is Ian Gillan on KSTV.
Okay, so what's up everyone? Chaos TV is today here in Tallinn in Estonia, and we have the pleasure to talk with Mr. Ian Gillan from Deep Purple. So first off, hello and welcome to Chaos TV.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
So in general, how has the summer started for you and the band?
Very good. It's nice to be back on the road. We've had kind of 6 months off, really, almost 6 months. I've been writing and recording and resting, with enjoying family life and stuff like that. But now we're back on the road and we're solid until after Christmas. So, in fact, I'm solid until the end of next March. So it's exciting to be back on the road.
And keeping yourself busy, I assume.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we are here because Deep Purple is returning to Finland in July to play 2 shows. And last time when you guys were in Finland, you played in Helsinki in Ice Hall, a sold-out show like last November. Mm-hmm. So in general, what kind of memories do you actually have from that, and what are like your own best memories when it comes to playing in Finland?
Well, I have lots of memories of Finland. They're mostly personal ones with friends I've made there, and in fact, I've got loads of friends from Finland coming to the show here in Tallinn.
Yeah, it's so short, so yeah.
Tomorrow, and so it's always been a warm and pleasant reception. I've always been made to feel very welcome. The Finnish fans are absolutely devoted. They're amazing. They give a lot. They don't just take, they give a lot. And so it's a reciprocal and mutual sense of affection. I like it very much.
Yes, you seem to have quite die-hard fan club in Finland.
Yes, we do. They're very important, very important. But you know, everyone feels like family when we go on stage in Finland. It's a kind of it's that kind of a culture. It's very embracing.
So obviously, as I said already, you will be coming back to Finland in July. Yeah. So what kind of like show can we actually expect from you guys, and how much do you actually look forward more playing in festivals or compared to ice halls, or does it actually matter for you?
Well, it's all music, you know. Basically, we're performing music. The transition from playing to 100 people in clubs back in the 60s to 80,000 or 250,000 people now, depending where you are, in festivals, is basically the same. I know it seems different, but you've got to play the notes and you've got to keep the rhythm and you've got to stay in time and you've got to be expressive. So from that point of view, it's the same. I never did get nerves with large crowds. I get equally, I'd say, excited. It's a nervous excitement. So I'm always looking forward to the show, whether it's a little one or a big one, whether it's an arena or a festival. The thing is different, is more from the audience point of view than is from the artist's point of view. Because it's a mingling of fans from different artists when you go to a festival, and it's also a jolly good day out. People are enjoying, the sunshine normally.
Yeah, hopefully,
if possible. I mean, we often in the summer have, particularly in Northern Europe, have encountered rainstorms and things like that. And I always keep a bucket of water handy so that I can throw it over my head in sympathy with the crowd when we do rainy shows. But all things apart, the weather, it's generally a joyous atmosphere, and people are out for a good time. And it seems somehow different. It's the nuances of if you go to a festival, you're watching the whole thing. You're appreciating it from a different point of view. I can't describe it actually very accurately because I haven't been to many festivals as an audience member myself, normally as an artist. But you can tell it's party time.
Actually, from the November show, you got like really good reviews within Finnish. No, but in Finnish press from the last show when you actually were in Finland.
Yeah.
So, do you actually feel that the band is now on the top of its game?
I never thought that we weren't. The thing about, I'm writing a project called The Parallax Effect on Reality, and it basically depends on where you're standing. And a lot of the questions that you ask me, and that a lot of people ask me, are really difficult to understand and difficult to answer. The reason is because we don't look at things that way. We stand in a different position. Yeah. We think of our music and writing our music not from a commercial point of view, nor do we judge the music upon the reaction of the audience or the reaction of the critics. It would be ruinous for us to do that, and we wouldn't make progress. We learn from our own mistakes all the time, and I think if we're happy with if the band is happy, generally the music is happy. When I say happy, I don't mean jokey, but I mean it's confident and full of expression, dynamics and texture. The big changes that happen in our lives will affect us all, and a sense of renewal happened when we got involved with Bob Ezrin, our new producer, for the previous record, Now What? And he's made a big difference in terms of discipline. So, yes, from that respect, we're on top of the game, because as you know, with anything that happens by committee, you don't really get the hard driving result that you want. It may be perfectly good. Sometimes it's a bit long-winded, and sometimes it lacks personality because everyone's settled for a compromise, and it happens from time to time. But you're not aware of it at the time. You're just doing your best at all times, and so. The commercial judgment or reaction is something that you feel yourself anyway, because you're all feeling the same thing. And I say that because we resist objective judgment. It's essential to do that. You can't be influenced by... we never took requests, for example. It's something that has to come from within the band. The music has to evolve and come naturally. That's just to keep our sanity, because if we did what everyone wanted, we'd be in a mess, because everyone doesn't want the same thing. Everyone wants different things, so we'd be torn in this direction and that, and trying to please this section, or trying to be fashionable, which is something we've always avoided. Yeah. That's really important, because if you're fashionable today, then by definition you're unfashionable tomorrow. So it's important to be true to ourselves. It's hard sometimes, and it makes life difficult, because you're hearing criticism and you're, why didn't you do that? When I was 17 or 18, I think someone shouted out the back of the hall, "Get your hair cut," because I was doing my Elvis impersonations, and the Beatles had just arrived and with a different hairstyle. Yeah. So I'm thinking, should I do that? And I did, and I thought, no, I'm not. I'm going to get my hair just natural as I feel it. And so the same applies to the music, and the same applies to everything you approach in life, I think, really. So it's a long-winded answer to your question, but yes, I think we're on top of the game, and most of that is due to a catalyst, and that's Bob Ezrin. Okay.
So your latest album, Infinite, has gotten also like really good reviews everywhere. But do you still feel that there's like new music left in Deep Purple, or do you feel that this was the last goodbye for the fans, or?
Do you stop breathing? Do you stop eating? Do you stop music? Is it something that there is suddenly no more of? It's not possible. It's not possible. We're musicians, we're writers, and everything we do. And if you want to call yourself an artist, it's incumbent upon you to be expressive. And you can't just stop being expressive. So whether that's professionally or privately, I think the other thing to do with the confusion of the long goodbye is that it was intended to be a long, very long goodbye.
But I guess people didn't realize it in the beginning, or?
Well, people think, people have preconceived ideas. They read words and they take everything. I mean, how can you take a long goodbye literally? What does it mean? Does it mean goodbye?
It means a long goodbye.
Mean goodbye, or does it mean long goodbye?
Yeah.
And I think the reason for that is that a couple of years ago, everyone in the band was unwell. We all had health problems, and which have been well documented. And I think somebody, and I can't remember who said it, probably somebody from the office said, you guys want to call it a day? Call it, because you all have got health problems here.
Yeah.
And so getting a decision from Deep Purple is always very tricky. So I guess there were a few nods and, well, yeah, maybe, I don't know. So let's call it the long goodbye. And that way we can make our decision later. Now, the fact is that everyone's feeling great now, and we've all got over those health problems, and everyone's in good shape. So I think we're probably going to be looking at writing some more material next year, and maybe even possibly another album. I don't know. But this has turned into an incredibly intense tour. I mean, from now till next March, we're on the road non-stop in Europe and America and Canada, Japan, Mexico, and so on. And then I've got solo tours in Eastern Europe, and then I've got a Rock Meets Classic tour in Germany next February, March. And so, yeah, it's pretty intense. So I think we shall be going on, and but we'll take a breather, I think, around March or April next year. I'd like to go and put my feet up somewhere for a couple of months.
So do you actually, I was actually going to ask you about your solo career. Are you actually planning on writing some new music for it, or is it just going to be touring with the material that you already have?
I've got about 5 projects in mind. Okay. I've got about 30 songs in my library that have never been recorded.
Okay.
I don't know which of those will actually end up coming alive, but there is one that is coming, a project that we've just finished recording in Hamburg. I recorded a new album with my first ever band, the Javelins, from 1962.
Okay.
And we finished recording that material of the time, and that's coming out in August. And I'm going to start promotion work on that in a few weeks' time. Okay, so you're the first to actually know about it.
Okay, cool.
It's coming out in August. And it contains songs like Ray Charles and Buddy Holly and Howling Wolf and Chuck Berry and stuff like that from that era. And the guys in the band, most of them, they've tickled along at the occasional gig and they've practiced and that sort of thing, but most of them haven't really played in any progressive way for 50 years or more, for 55, 56 years now. Okay. And
but they're still well otherwise.
Well, we gave them I prepared all the material with Steve Morris, my old partner from Liverpool, and not Steve Morse, Steve Morris, and we sent the tape, 16 songs, to each of the guys and said, okay, practice like crazy for 6 weeks. And so we all met in the studio in Hamburg, and we recorded 10 songs on the first day. And the whole 16 were recorded in 2 days, and then the solos and extra bits and pieces, a few mistakes were repaired on the Wednesday. And then we did video, and that was it. It was unbelievable. Okay. And I'm listening to the demos, the rough mixes, before we put on the vocal backings, the girls, and a brass section, because a lot of those old songs like the Coasters and Ray Charles had brass sections on them, so we're doing it authentically, augmenting the band. But because they hadn't played professionally for 50 years, they didn't evolve at all. They kept playing in the style which was in 1962. And consequently, when I'm listening to it, I think, my God, this is so authentic. It sounds just exactly as it did in those days. It's not musicians from today trying to do a retro version of those songs, which I've heard plenty of, and they're always, high production, big. There's no breathing space, no nothing. It sounds to me just as I remember it, and so I'm very excited about that. Of course, we're all in our 70s, and we're like a bunch of schoolboys in the studio.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you that. Did it feel like an old school reunion or something?
Yeah, it did, and we had a reunion a couple of years ago at Christmas. We all went on a boat up the River Thames and had a fantastic night, and it was great. Yes, the old banter was still there, the jokes and the sense of humour, and it was wonderful. Yeah, just truly wonderful. A great experience for these guys who've not been in a studio like that before. Yeah. We did try another project a few years ago and made another set, but so I think there was some nerves and some apprehension prior to the session, but by God, they went through it great. After every day's work, we sat down, we had a meal and drank some beers together and just talked about things. It was great.
Yeah, sharing stories from each other's lives. Yeah, yes. Yeah. Basically catching up, even though the time distance is probably quite long.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever catch up on that with that one, but it was certainly a fantastic experience. And I think the spirit of the band, this is very important with Deep Purple at all time, which has had its ups and downs throughout the history of the band, with personalities and personnel and difficulties. There have been times when the band has felt uneasy with itself. And I think that's reflected in the music. If you listen to the album, I was only talking the other day about an album called Nobody's Perfect, and I thought this epitomizes everything that's not right about Deep Purple. And you hear some other songs like the 70, the Mark II stuff and Perfect Strangers, perhaps, and the more recent material. When you think, yeah, the band is hot then. As you were saying earlier, and your first question, is it on top of the game now? And I think those are the times it shows, and the reasons for that are the same as when anyone's on top of their game. You see an athlete performing well, they're relaxed. Yeah. Because if they're tense, they don't do so good. Yeah. You never deliver such good stuff when you're tense and uneasy. But when you're relaxed and fluid, and there's common thinking, you've got a mutual idea of what you're after, it works very well.
So hey, thank you, Ian, for taking time to do this interview with us.
Please announce the javelins thing.
Yeah, and all the best for the future. Anything you want to say as last words to the Finnish fans watching this afterwards?
Yeah,
you can hold this one and watch for that camera.
Okay, to all our Finnish fans, particularly our amazing fan club, Perfect Strangers fan club in Finland. You guys are amazing, and I feel the intimacy whenever we play, no matter how small or big the venues are. And I thank you for turning up and giving us your warm emotions every time. We embrace it, and very grateful for it. Look forward to seeing you soon. Cheers.
Thank you.